Good day. This is meteorologist Eric Donton from the Fleetweather Ocean Routing Center in New York. It's currently just before 21Z on October 13th, and this is going to be a discussion on the latest tropical situation across the West Pacific. So as we can see here on this Joint Typhoon Warning Center map, we have a few systems that we'll be talking about. The first is Invest 90W over the South China Sea, which is currently a high chance for development into a tropical cyclone in the next 24 hours by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. This system is actually being classified as Tropical Depression A by the Japan Meteorological Agency, which I will show shortly. Next, we have Invest 97W, which is a medium chance by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. And this is actually being classified as Tropical Depression Nanang by the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, which I will also show shortly. And finally, we have Tropical Depression 21W further to the east across the western North Pacific, as classified by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. So let's dive in and take a closer look at these systems. First, taking a look here at Invest 90W or Tropical Depression A by the Japan Meteorological Agency. We can see here in the satellite image, most of the convection is currently being sheared to the west of the circulation center, and this is due to some high vertical wind shear in the region. Now taking a look at the latest track from the Japan Meteorological Agency, we can see they have a general west-northwest track toward the coast of Luzon, making landfall by later on the 15th. So this track we could see on the previous image due to the high vertical wind shear, no further strengthening is really expected, with the system basically expected to maintain its current intensity before making landfall. And then just taking a quick look at the latest 12Z GFS ensembles, we can see they are also in agreement on the northwestward track, similar to the Japan Meteorological Agency track. So then taking a look at our next system, which is Invest 97W or Tropical Depression Nanang. So again, I have the satellite up here with the shear overlaid. So we can see the system is currently pretty disorganized with just some scattered convection in the vicinity of the circulation. It is, however, in an area of low to moderate vertical wind shear. So with this in mind, there is the possibility for some slight intensification as it moves to the west over the next few days. However, we can see into the longer term, it could again get into an area of higher vertical wind shear, which may limit further development as it nears northeast of Luzon. So now taking a look at the latest track graphic from the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, we can see that they have the general west to west-southwest track for the next 24 to 48 hours or so, and then turning more west to west-northwest as it passes to the north of Luzon, and then into the extended range, turning more to the southwest into the South China Sea. And taking a look at the latest GFS ensembles for the system, we can see they're in general agreement with that aforementioned track map I just showed with the general west-southwest to west-northwest track, and then turning southwest once in the South China Sea. However, we can see there is still a pretty good deal of uncertainty in regards to the track of the system, with tracks in the South China Sea basically ranging from 15 north to 20 north. So this system definitely bears close watching in the coming days as the forecast track gets more ironed out. And then finally, we will take a look at Tropical Depression 21W as classified by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. So again, I have the satellite image up here with the shear overlaid. So we can see the system currently has still some convection trying to persist near the center, but it is in an area of high vertical wind shear. And as it continues to move north, it will also be moving into cooler sea surface temperatures as well. So these two things combined, the system is expected to continue to weaken and actually dissipate by later in the day on the 14th. As we can see here, this is the latest track graphic from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. So again, that general north track, and we can see by 14 to 18Z is the last position they show. And at that point, they expect it to be dissipated as a significant tropical cyclone. And so lastly, we will take a look at the latest 12Z GFS model run at some of the impacts from these systems. So again, we have Invest 90W or Tropical Depression A over the South China Sea, and we can see we currently have some very rough seas and near to gale force conditions, especially on the north and west side of the system. And that is expected to persist through the 14th before the system makes landfall, with conditions then quickly easing. Then moving to Invest 97W or Tropical Depression Nanang, currently located to the east-northeast of Luzon here. We can see the GFS is showing some strengthening as it approaches the northeast coast of Luzon by the 15th. And then as conditions may become more favorable as it enters the South China Sea, we can see the GFS is showing more significant development by this time, with a large area of adverse conditions, very rough to high seas, and gale to storm force conditions. And as the system moves west, and again, there is uncertainty in the exact track this is going to take. It could be a bit further south or further to the north. But regardless, as the system moves west, we're going to have an area of high pressure moving down southeast over eastern China by the end of the weekend into early next week, which is also going to enhance the northeast monsoon conditions behind the system. So for any vessels transiting in the northern South China Sea through East China Sea vicinities in the coming days, basically from the 16th through the 20th, we can see there's going to be some pretty adverse conditions in the region. So definitely something to keep in mind for any vessels transiting in this area. And also for any vessels that may be transiting, say between Singapore and southern Japan, for example, it may be worth evaluating different routes such as Palawan Passage or routing through the Philippines via San Bernardino Strait for some vessels just to remain east of these adverse conditions. So that sums up today's weather short. Thanks for watching. Stay connected and safe.